Hignet's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dack's corner and it goes, Glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good morning, Rovers fans, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from, and welcome to another episode of Breakfast with Rovers Chat. Slightly different time, or same time, but different day here, but another episode nonetheless. Obviously, with the England game yesterday, or sorry, the other day, we wanted to let everyone recover from that. Obviously, a bad result for everyone connected to England, but congratulations to Italy, of course, but I was still pretty devastated. So we're doing it today, same time, but still a lot to talk about. On the agenda, we've got obviously the Euro 2020 final. We've got the friendlies against Fylde and Darwin to talk about. We've got some transfer stuff, and we've got the fans also, the update as to whether fans will be allowed into games. As always, I'm Oliver Walker-Peel to host this one for you. And of course, as always, we are sponsored, if I can find the advert, by 6yardsout.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
Thanks, 6 Yards Out, and also to Sporting Minds UK and Blue Rose Capital for their continued support. Speaking of Sporting Minds UK, we've obviously got the big summer charity quiz coming up there. As you can see, with the prizes listed on screen, signed Elliot Bennett boot, signed shirt from Joe Rothwell, signed John Buckley kit, and also the away kit for the upcoming season as well, amongst other prizes there that can be won. And you've obviously got the lineup here of people who are going to be featured, of players who are going to be featured. You can see there the ones that have been uncovered, the ones that have been revealed include Danny Graham, Elliot Bennett, John Rankin Costello, John Buckley, Louis Annesley, Dan Pike, Jake Garrett, and Sam Barnes. So something there to look forward to. Of course, we've got that Benno tweet just here, just that Rovers Chat tweeted out a little while ago, saying we'll be giving one lucky winner a signed pair of Elliot Bennett boots. To be with the chance of winning, like and retweet, spread the word, and donate whatever you can via rcdonate.com. Reply to this tweet with a screenshot to enter. Of course, you can see the banner across the bottom, just encouraging you to donate whatever you can, if you can, to Sporting Minds UK. Is a pretty brilliant charity, so go there and donate if you can. And one more thing I've got to update you on is the Kieran Maguire video that's coming out, which is at 5 o'clock today, UK time, obviously. So Kieran Maguire going to talk about the Rovers accounts that have been published recently. We have really, really good insight. That'll be with Glenn Entwistle at 5 p.m, as I say. So make sure you're sticking about for that one. We've got a comment, and it's him again, isn't it? It always is. It's Alejandro. Ready. Cheers from Mexico. Of course, you're here, mate, and I'm absolutely buzzing to see you here. If there's any other people in the chat with us, come and put your comments in, and we can talk about certain things relating to Rovers and maybe just relating to worldwide football in general while we are still here. But of course, we have to start with England, don't we? Obviously, it was a devastating result. We all thought it was coming home, and in fact, it wasn't. Obviously, the early goal from Luke Shaw, set us into raptures, set me into absolute raptures. England was going crazy, and we thought that this might be the one. But Leonardo Bonucci's equaliser and the eventual penalty loss. And it was just same old England, wasn't it? It was same old England, but just different day, different year, 2021. It's always the same England, isn't it? Bukayo Saka obviously missing the decisive penalty, which was a real shame. But the race to beauty got just wasn't merited whatsoever. Obviously, Sancho and Rashford were also targeted to some of that as well. So if by chance you're in the chat, right, there's a couple of viewers here I can see up the top. If you are one of those that are sending racist messages away, give your head a wobble and just think again, because it's really, really abhorrent, these racist messages. They're absolutely dreadful. There's just no need at all. And it's good to see the wider community, the majority, coming through and responding to that, spreading the love, which we always like to see. But the racist messages that were sent out were horrible. Of course, I saw tweets by Chris Hayes, a brilliant tweet by Chris Hayes. I don't know if he's here, but if he is, I may as well shout him out. He might well pop in a little bit later on. But yeah, it was a brilliant tweet just saying, just fighting back against these racist people that are just being absolute idiots. But, it's a real shame, and it's good to see that the majority of people are fighting back as they should. Obviously, with England, Luke Shaw was brilliant. He got his goal. I thought that the centre half pairing of Maguire and also Kyle Walker were decent, or in that defensive, not centre back partner. Well, I mean, John Stones was good, but that back line sort of held together. All four of them played a decent game, and even we went to 3 at the back, which could say 3 or a 5 later on, which sort of worked out. But we ended up sitting off, and it just didn't work out. Hopefully, it's not a shade of things to come with Rovers this season. Of course, we do have to move on to Rovers, who had 2 friendlies. We had one friendly with the first 11 away at AFC Fylde, which we of course won. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the game yet. Apparently, you can, according to Joe Harvey, I saw on Twitter on Rovers TV. So if you haven't done that yet, might well be a thing worth doing. But obviously, the 1-0 win there, thanks to a goal late on from Conor McBride. Really good finish, actually, to be fair. We probably would have had a penalty if he hadn't have lashed that one home. But a really good strike. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come for Conor McBride. Obviously, we signed him at the start of last season. It's got nowhere near the first team as of yet, but I suppose that's to be expected. Been lighting it up with the under-23s. Hopefully he gets his chance later on. It was a really, really nice finish inside the box. Put that one into the top corner and then sent the Rovers fans away from the ground, which is something we haven't been able to say for a while. Rovers fans back in stadiums, sent them away pretty happy. I saw the backstage video that Rovers uploaded, obviously, to their YouTube channel, and it was great to see fans back in the ground. Hopefully that continues and we don't have another break where there's games being played behind closed doors. But first time since Swansea at home, 28th of February, if memory serves me correctly, when fans were back in the stadium. Of course, Bradley Johnson's late equaliser that day rescued us a point, and then from there on we played Derby away, lost 3-0, and then that was it. Closed doors football, championship was suspended, and then we haven't had fans since. So it's nice to see fans back into stadiums. Of course, a little word on that. Obviously, we know that the Bradford game away at Valley Parade will be without Rovers fans. Obviously, I think Bradford have got 4,000 fans they're allowing in, all Bradford fans. So unless you're willing to throw on a Bradford City shirt and a Bradford City scarf and try and get yourself in the ground that way, I don't even think you'll be able to do that. But there'll be no Rovers fans in the ground that day. I've also heard rumours that it's going to be similar for the trip to the University of Bolton Stadium as well when we play against Bolton Wanderers. But I'm not sure if they've been confirmed yet. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can get some Rovers fans in because it's a local derby. Haven't played Bolton in a little while, but it would be nice to see fans in the ground for that game. We've got a Leicester fan in the chat, actually, Leo Reeve, who obviously says he's not a Rovers fan, but I know him personally, so hello to Leo. He might still be watching. I don't know if he is, but obviously we played Leicester last season in a friendly, obviously with a 1-1 draw. Derek Williams, who's since departed, we got the goal that day, and obviously I think Tyler McGlaw had the game of his life against Jamie Vardy, and then we haven't seen him in a Rovers shirt since. And he may well go out on loan again, so we never know what's going to happen there. But he played a brilliant game that day away at the King Power. And it would be nice to see him get a chance, but I don't know if he will, especially with Scott Wharton probably ahead of him in the pecking order. And even he's out injured, so we'll have to sort of see what happens there. Only a couple of viewers in the chat, which is, no real comments, which isn't great because I'd like to be able to bounce off people and have something else to talk about instead of just rambling on myself. But that's the way it is. I just want to look forward to that accounts video with Kieran Maguire that's coming up very, very shortly. I mean, I won't be watching. I'll be asleep. It'll be 2:00 over here, so no way am I getting up to watch that as good as it'll be. I might watch the replay when I wake up eventually. I'm sure it'll be a brilliant podcast with a bit of an insight into Rovers' financial, I don't even know what you call it, accounts, financial situation even. It's not been great off field, has it, in the last few years? But I suppose you never know. Hopefully things do recover. Leo's still here. So, of course, the one person who is here isn't a Rovers fan. But that's okay. Prediction for Rovers in the league this season. Hopefully the Rovers fans are watching this back. Maybe they're all at work or something. Or maybe they've just not got out of bed yet. Maybe some are still hungover from England. Who knows? But hopefully you're watching this back. A prediction for Rovers in the league this season, I'm not confident, to be honest. I'm really not confident. And I'd like to say the opposite. I would really like to say that, we'll do really well and we'll push top 6 and, maybe go up. I think if we lose Adam Armstrong, it's going to be tough. I'd love to be proven wrong. Obviously, I love Rovers with all my heart, but at the moment, it's just not looking good, is it? Losing Adam Armstrong. We've got players coming through. Obviously, we've mentioned the likes of McBride, Dan Pike also coming through, Jake Garrett, Sam Barnes, Isaac Whitehall, all coming through the under-23s. So hopefully they get a bit of a chance if it isn't working out with the lads that we already know. I was going to get onto this a little bit later, but the transfer news that we have been linked with is obviously surrounding Adam Armstrong, of course. But obviously Southampton are probably leading the race to sign him. They had a bid knockback of, I think, around £10 million has been reported. Not sure how true that is, but that apparently been knocked back. And in the deal, they want to give us Michael Obafemi as a bit of a sweetener, who I think could be a brilliant player in the Championship. I think he'd do amazingly for us if we were to sign him. So I think that could be the one that could maybe get that one over the line. I hope Adam Armstrong stays. I've got him on the back of the shirt here that I'm wearing at the moment, the away shirt from the season just gone. So that's obviously going to be a bit annoying, but look, it's going to be an interesting season. I was very hopeful at the start of last season. Nothing happened. I'm not hopeful at the start of the season. Hopefully something happens. That's what I'll say on that. But in terms of the other friendly, it was a bit of a mental game, this one. Rovers coming from behind to beat Darwin in that friendly that I did mention a little bit earlier on. I think Zach Gilson got the winner, who for Leo, if you're still watching, obviously, you're out here in Australia. He's actually a Australian international, if I can speak, which I can apparently, which is always nice. But yeah, there was a lot of goals. I think there was 7 goals. It was 4-3, wasn't it? We fought from 3-1 down and got there. I know it was a 9-goal thriller even. We won 5-4. That's correct. There we go. So goal scorers just had to make sure. Gilson scored twice. We were 4-1 down at one point, which is never helpful, but we were able to get there in the end. Charlie Olsen got a goal as well, and Harrison Wood and Jake Batty got the other goals. So 5-4, a 9-goal thriller, which is class, and yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, there wasn't really much media conjecture about that game, but yeah, it happened. Obviously, 9-goal thriller, 2 games away, so still not played at Ewood as of yet, but 2 games, 2 Rovers 11s and 2 wins. So there we go. I suppose what we could do from here is have a look at the 11s that played in the game against against Fylde rather. Obviously, we had 2 different 11s for each half, and of course, we had, I think it was Joe Nolan on the bench for both halves, and he got a few minutes towards the end of the game. But we'll have a look at the 11s that played in the first half to start with. And it's a decent 11. We've got enough firepower, you'd think, to beat Fylde, we thought, and obviously we went into the halftime break, as the game started at 0-0. So look, I suppose it's pre-season friendly, so we don't really need to exert ourselves too much, but it's obviously always helpful if you win games by a fair amount. But if we have a look at the first half 11, I don't think I'm going to be able to bring it up on the screen, but I'll just read it out anyway. So first half, we started with Jordan Eastham in goal. We had what looks like a back 4 of Pike, Carter, Barnes and Pickering. Midfield 3 of Buckley. The captain for the first half was Bradley Johnson and Joe Rothwell, before a front 3 of Luke Brennan, Burns, and Harry Chapman. And then we had Nolan on the bench, as we mentioned. And then if we look into the second half of the game, we had a few changes. So the second half was drastically different to the first. We had Antonis Steriakis in goal, Nyambe at right back, Jalil Sardi at centre half alongside Louis Annesley. Isaac Whitehall was the other fullback. Midfield 3, in fact, is that a midfield? That can't be a midfield 3, can it? Davenport and Travis played in midfield. We also had Dan Butterworth, Jack Vale, Conor McBride got the goal, and Sam Dorrant as well, who also played. And then once again, we had Nolan on the bench. The only goal scorer, as we said, was Conor McBride with a really nice finish. It was a cutback on the byline. It was attempted cutback. Butterworth got to the byline, cuts it back to Doran, who was brought down, and then it fell very, very nicely for McBride to finish, and he did so. Leo in the comments saying that Liverpool were chasing Ben Brereton. He did brilliant in the Copa America, so I don't think he'll be going to Liverpool, let's be honest. I hope he doesn't. I want to see him play for Rovers again because he's was brilliant in the Copa America, especially against Bolivia. Got the goal, got the winner in a 1-0 win there, so that worked out well for Brio. You probably heard that off Rovers Chat potentially, because that was the only place that I'd heard it. I heard it off a transfer talk with Ryan Hildred, which you can go back and watch if you feel that way inclined. But yeah, I heard it off there and then off Lancs Live as well. Leeds was the more prevalent rumour and the more likely one. I don't think he'll leave, but I think if he's going to go to either Leeds or Liverpool, I think Leeds would be more likely. Marcelo Bielsa, their manager, I think likes him. He played a couple of times. They've played against each other a couple of times, Rovers and Leeds, and we've got to play Leeds in a friendly in the not too distant future. So we'll get another look at him. So hopefully he doesn't go. But I think Leeds is more likely than Liverpool at the moment. I don't think he'll go to Liverpool. I hope he doesn't leave anywhere. But we will have to see there. So as I mentioned just before, we did mention about the podcast that's going to be coming up with Glenn Entwistle tonight and Kieran Maguire. Obviously, Kieran Maguire's been all over Twitter just talking about Rovers accounts and how much trouble we're in and when they're going to be released and the embargo and all that. I'm sure all of that will be covered tonight at 5 p.m. So if you're saving yourself for a live stream, make sure you're going to watch that one. And we'll just finish this one off. A lot shorter chat today, but we've obviously had nothing in the comments, so that's not really worked out too well. We will go into a little bit of transfer stuff actually before we do that. So obviously we talked about Obafemi and Armstrong, the potential swap deal that could happen there. I'd take Obafemi 100%. I've seen some things on Twitter where fans saying, "Oh, I don't rate Obafemi." I'd take him. I'd definitely take him. I would. I think he's a good player at Premier League level even, and if he was to come down to the Championship, I think he'd absolutely rip it up. So potentially not. I've not really seen a lot of him, to be fair, but when I've seen him, he's done decent. So maybe he could be one that could come in. Obviously, like Jerry Yates, I've seen us linked with Lyle Taylor even. So there's a lot of players that we've been linked with, and now that we're actually consigned players, it's interesting to see what can happen from here. So that's on incomings. On potential outgoings, I've seen something on Ainsley Pears potentially leaving on loan. Doncaster have been credited with an interest in him. It was an interesting signing at the time, wasn't it? Because obviously we had Kaminsky, and we had Pears coming in saying he wanted to play first team football and start. But obviously Kaminsky's gone into that position. Obviously he's been injured, and Pears has stepped in. But as soon as he's come in, he's not really looked back. So it's one of those where I think if you're going to give him game time, you give him. It's got to be away from Rovers. I don't think he's going to play for Blackburn. In the league anyway, unless TK gets injured. So it's going to be an interesting one, but that's one that has been spoken about. There's obviously all the earlier rumours that we've sort of talked about already. There's not really too much else to talk about on that at the moment because, obviously we've mentioned them already and there's only so many times you can mention the same thing, but, it's one of those that, we want players in, don't we? We need to strengthen something, especially if we're going to lose Adam Armstrong. There's a 29 goal a season striker void there. It's not easy to replace 29 goals a season. So it's going to be an interesting season. I've talked about that. I've mentioned that already, but it is one that we're going to have to think about because if we don't replace Armstrong adequately, then it could be a really, really interesting season. But I hope we can be up the upper end of the table. Obviously, we've got some quality players. You look at the likes of Ryan Niambe and Lewis Travis and even, Brio we've mentioned, among many, many others. So we've got some very, very good players at Championship level, but it's just whether they can all piece themselves together and potentially take us up. Do I think we will go up? Not at the moment. Again, I really, really hope I'm wrong, but we will have to see. In terms of fans in pre-season, we've talked about, obviously we've talked about the Bolton and Bradford games, potentially not having Rovers fans there. I'm not too sure about Bolton at the moment. I know Bradford, definitely that we can't have fans in. I'm trying to catch my breath a second. Hold on. Just give me a moment. Sorry. It should be all good to go. Bolton, obviously, we know there might not be fans in. Bradford, we know for certain fans aren't in, and we know for sure that Leeds, when they come to Ewood, that there will be fans in the ground there. In terms of other friendlies, I've heard rumours that we might be playing another friendly. There's nothing confirmed as of yet, but we'll have to see what happens from there. But yeah, really, that's about it, to be honest, with nothing else to bounce off, really. That's all we can really talk about at the moment. Obviously, we've got the kit releases and all that, but obviously the kit that we talked about last week, they wore that at the weekend. I think both the under 23 11 and the starting 11 or the first 11, whatever you want to call it, they both wore that. They're being raffled off, or the ones against Fylde are being raffled off, the match worn ones, to fans who've renewed their season tickets. So obviously the deadline for that has closed, but maybe you're lucky enough to get that, and who knows from there. Obviously, Conor McBride wore number 10 when he scored his goal. So if you get number 10, you're pretty lucky in that regard to get one that was, a goal was scored in it, and that's fair enough from there. But that'll about wrap it up, I think. A shorter one than usual. Obviously, we're only early on into the series, and hopefully when the season starts, we'll get a little bit more to talk about. But at the moment, there isn't really much that we can sort of say. So hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. It's been a very, very short one in comparison to all the other ones. And now the people start to join us as I'm about to wrap things up. So for the people that have joined us, a couple have just joined us there. I don't know who has joined us. I can't tell who has joined us. But if you've got anything you want me to talk about very, very briefly before I hop off, then I will do. But if there's nothing else, then I'm about to wrap the stream up. I'll do it in a couple of minutes' time, just so if you want to get those comments in, you can do. Yeah, other than that, obviously, we've mentioned numerous times the podcast tonight at 5 p.m. with Kieran Maguire and Glenn Entwistle, which is taking place, talking about Rowe's financial situation, which should be a good watch. But we'll have to sort of see how that one goes. But yeah, there's nothing really else to talk about. So that will wrap up to today's stream, today's Breakfast with Rovers Chat stream. Of course, season hasn't started yet, so it is a little bit slow. We'll have to sort of see where this one goes from here. So I've been Oliver Walker-Peel. Thanks for joining me tonight, or today even. I'm worrying on Melbourne time. But thanks for joining me today, and another reminder that we are sponsored by 6yardsout.com. Thanks for joining me.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.